When Richard and Sabina came to Christ, they prayed that God would give them a cross to bear. Rather than running from pain or persecution, they recognized in the scriptures that sharing in Christ's suffering was the high calling of a biblical disciple. It is hard to find people today who dare say that or pray that. But Richard and Sabina trusted God so much, they believed any suffering they endured for His sake would produce great fruitfulness in their lives and allow them to plant godly seeds in the lives of others, even their persecutors. As the decade of the 1930s came to a close, the rise of anti-Semitism in Romania was raging. As the Nazis came, kidnappings, disappearances, even political assassinations were all on the rise. And before long, Richard and Sabina's prayers were answered. They were given a cross to bear.
Sabina!
Richard!
Where's behind?
Alice was there!
Be quiet, no talking.
Some people get the idea that the whole concept of risk is to avoid risks. That's actually wrong. There's this thing called risk assessment, and it's not designed to help you avoid all risk. It's designed to help you identify which risks are worth it, which risks are worth taking, which prices are worth paying. And the answer for us as Christians is that Christ is worthy, period. Whatever the risk, whatever the resulting price or cost that we would pay, He was worth it.
Susanna Coe is a modern-day Sabina. She and her husband, Pastor Raymond Coe, took risks to share Christ with people in their native country of Malaysia. She herself was born into a Buddhist family. In February of 2017, Pastor Raymond Coe was abducted off the streets in broad daylight. 13 men, 5 vehicles, the whole thing took less than 40 seconds, and Raymond Coe hasn't been seen since. His car was never found, and every day, his wife Susanna wonders, what happened to my husband?
I called one of the friends, and they said that Pastor Raymond did not turn up for a meeting. And I knew there's something wrong because he's very punctual and very consistent, so he wouldn't do that. I went to the police station, but they took me into an interrogation room instead of getting the missing person report done. Through 5 hours of interrogation, they were asking questions that were not, to me, relevant to finding Raymond, but they were asking about his activities, whether he proselytized Muslims, whether he preached Christianity to Muslims, and at the end, at 3 a.m. in the morning, I just stood up and said, I'm not answering any more questions. I'm going out there to find my husband, and you should be doing that.
But every price that we will pay is also real suffering, but real joy that transcends the suffering. And in our work with persecuted Christians around the world, in the world's most difficult missions frontiers, the most restricted nations, the most hostile areas, the Christians on the planet who have lost the most, we see this. The suffering is absolutely real. The suffering of this world is very real. The pain is real. Those tears are real. The grief is real. But the joy of the Lord and of His eternal kingdom, our eternal hope in Christ, transcends that suffering and that sadness.
For the first 3 weeks, I must admit that, I was traumatized. I experienced panic attacks. There was fear and intimidation by the police. They were following us everywhere. I couldn't sleep, and there was loss of appetite, I felt that maybe they have arrested Pastor Raymond and put him somewhere, but they were not giving us any answers. And so we went through the CCTV footage, and when we actually played the scene, I couldn't breathe. It was like, this is what happened, because it showed very clearly he was surrounded by 3 SUVs. There were 15 men coming up, down upon him, violently snatching him, and even someone was videotaping, the whole operation.
Richard and Sabina and Wurmbrand, they always took obedient risks. They always got involved, and oftentimes it would have been far safer to just lay low or hide.
Are you afraid?
Do not be afraid, for I am with you. Genesis 26.
Raymond started to go for long prayer walks months before the adoption. Sometimes I would join him. And also he was telling me that he was memorizing scriptures. And it's like whole passages, like, I've just finished memorizing 1 Corinthians 13. And it was wonderful to see that. But he also seemed to have an urgency to preach the gospel. And he kept telling us that, maybe I only have like 5 years. Or maybe I only have 3 years. Or maybe I only have 1.5 years. And, I was like, what's happening here?
A beautiful episode in the film and in Richard and Sabina's story is